The judge had seen murderers, monsters, and madmen, but nothing prepared her for the three witnesses who made her cry on live TV. No judge in the history of the Redwood County Superior Court had ever cried on the bench. Not in murder trials, not in child abuse hearings, not even in wrongful death lawsuits where entire families took the stand. Judge Eleanor Hayes, a woman famous for her titanium-like emotional control, had built her name on being unshakable. But that changed on the night the world heard the testimony of three witnesses. Three voices, raw, broken, trembling, who walked into Courtroom 14 and shattered every wall around her heart. This is the story of those witnesses, and the man whose life hung in the balance. The trial became the biggest media event Redwood County had ever seen. Every news channel flashed his mugshot. Every Facebook group announced their verdict before the trial even began. Burn the killer. Keep him off the streets forever. He murdered a child. Daniel's court-appointed attorney, Maya Griffin, was young. Too young in the eyes of the public. But she had a fire in her eyes that Daniel had never seen in anyone else. On the morning of the trial, she placed a hand on his arm. "Daniel, I don't care what the world says, I believe you. And I'm going to prove you didn't do this." Her voice didn't shake, his did. "Why would you trust me?" "Because your eyes don't carry guilt, they carry grief." A court against one man. For the first week, everything went against Daniel. Fire investigators testified that the fire was set intentionally. A neighbor said she saw Daniel arguing with Mark Ross 2 days before the fire. A gas station clerk claimed Daniel bought gasoline late at night. And most damning, Mark Ross himself took the stand, crying, pointing at Daniel, shouting, "He ruined my life! He killed my family!" People in the courtroom were already whispering, "Death penalty. Don't let him walk, he deserves to rot." And even though Maya fought fiercely, the jury's eyes looked grim. Daniel stared at the floor, wondering if his life was already over. On day 9 of the trial, something strange happened. A note was slipped under Maya's office door. It had no name, no signature, just 4 words, "You're defending the wrong man." And below it, an address. Maya followed it, and what she found changed everything. Sitting on the porch of a worn-down home was a woman in her late 50s, trembling, chain-smoking, unable to speak clearly. Her name was Linda Hawkins. She told Maya, "I know the truth. I saw everything that night." But she wouldn't come to court. She was terrified. Only after hours of talking, after Maya assured her she would be protected, did Linda finally agree. She became the first unexpected witness, and she would be the first punch to the heart of every person in Courtroom 14. The 3 witnesses. Maya saved them for the very end. A last-second miracle, a final fight before the verdict. The whole world was watching, the woman on the porch. When Linda walked to the witness stand, her hands shook so violently that Judge Hayes asked if she needed a moment. "I'm fine, Your Honor," she whispered. Maya approached. "Ms. Hawkins, can you tell the court what you saw on the night of the fire?" Linda swallowed hard. "I live across the street from the Ross house. I can see their driveway clearly from my porch." She paused. Tears gathered. "I saw Mark Ross come out of the house around 11:30 p.m. He was dragging 2 gasoline containers. The courtroom erupted, gasps, shouts. An immediate objection from the prosecution. Judge Hayes hammered the gavel. "Order!" Maya asked softly. "Miss Hawkins, are you sure it was Mark?" Linda nodded, sobbing now. "I've seen that man every day for 5 years. I know him, and I know what I saw. Daniel wasn't there, but Mark was. And he kept looking around like he didn't want anyone to see him." "What happened next?" Her lips trembled. "He lit the match." Silence. Heavy, deadly. People looked at Mark Ross, who suddenly went pale. Linda continued, voice breaking. "I didn't come forward because he threatened me before. He told me if I ever opened my mouth, I would end up like his wife." The judge's eyes softened. For the first time in 15 years on the bench, her throat tightened. But this was only witness number 1. The storm was just beginning.
The boy with the broken backpack. The bailiff announced the next witness. Calling, Ethan Walker. A small, thin 14-year-old boy walked in, clutching a torn blue backpack. His eyes stayed glued to the ground. When he sat down in the witness chair, the courtroom fell almost silent. Maya knelt beside him gently. "Ethan, I promise you're safe. No one here is going to hurt you. Just tell us what you told me." Ethan's voice was barely audible. I saw Mr. Ross the day before the fire. He came to my mom's store. He was shouting at someone on the phone. Do you remember what he said?" The boy squeezed his backpack so hard his knuckles whitened. He said, "If she leaves me, I'll make sure nobody gets her." People stared. No one breathed, but Ethan wasn't finished. "I also saw Daniel Cole that day. He was at our store too. He bought flowers. He said he was dropping them off for Mrs. Ross because she helped him apply for a loan." A ripple of confusion moved through the courtroom. Maya asked, "Did Daniel and Mrs. Ross get along well?" Ethan nodded fast. "She used to help everyone. She was nice. She told my mom that Daniel reminded her of her little brother. Then the moment came. The one that cracked the judge." Ethan whispered, voice shaking. "Mr. Ross used to yell at his wife a lot. We heard them. Every week. And why didn't you come forward before?" A tear slid down his cheek. "Because my mom said Mark Ross was dangerous. She thought he might hurt us." Judge Hayes looked away for a moment. Her jaw tightened, her eyes shimmered. The prosecution was collapsing. The public was trembling. Daniel felt his breath for the first time in months. But the final witness was the one nobody expected. The court fell into stunned silence when Maya called the last name. "Your Honor," the defense calls. "Dr. Andrew Keller." Whispers erupted immediately. Dr. Keller was the lead burn unit surgeon who treated Mark Ross after the fire. He was respected, untouchable. Nobody expected him to testify for the defense. He walked calmly to the stand, wearing his white coat, holding a thick folder. Maya began, "Dr. Keller, you treated Mr. Ross the night of the fire, correct?" "Yes." "Can you tell the court what you found?" Keller opened the folder. Mr. Ross's burns were self-inflicted. The courtroom exploded. People leapt from their seats. Reporters nearly knocked over their cameras. Judge Hayes shouted, "Order! If anyone speaks again, I will clear this courtroom." Silence returned, shaking, uneasy. The doctor continued. "The burn patterns on Mr. Ross's arms and torso are consistent with someone pouring gasoline on themselves, not with being inside a burning structure. The skin damage shows splash patterns, not exposure patterns." He laid the photos on the evidence screen. The jury recoiled. Even the prosecutor looked horrified. Keller's voice remained steady. "In my professional opinion, Mark Ross lit the fire, after his family was already gone." Gasps filled the air like cold wind. Maya asked the final question. "Dr. Keller, why are you coming forward now?" The doctor inhaled deeply. "Because I watched an innocent man sit in jail for a crime he didn't commit. And because Mrs. Ross came to me 3 months before her death." His voice tightened. "She showed me her bruises. She begged me not to report it. She was terrified of her husband. And then, for the first time in her career, Judge Eleanor Hayes brought her trembling hand to her face and wiped a tear. Not one, but many." The courtroom went silent. No one moved. The strongest woman in the building had broken. Mark Ross panicked. He stood up and screamed, "Lies! All of them are lying." But the police were already stepping toward him. "Mr. Ross," Judge Hayes said, voice shaking but firm, "sit down or you will be removed." Mark didn't sit. He ran. But he didn't make it 3 steps before officers tackled him to the ground. The truth had come out. Finally. Completely. After 3 hours of deliberation, the jury returned. The foreperson stood. "We, the jury, find the defendant, Daniel Cole, not guilty on all counts." Maya covered her mouth, tears bursting out. Daniel collapsed into her arms, sobbing like a man whose soul was finally allowed to breathe. Judge Hayes spoke directly to him. "Mr. Cole, the justice system failed you, and I am so deeply sorry," her voice cracked. Every single person in that courtroom stood and applauded. Not because the trial was over, not because of the verdict, but because 3 brave witnesses, a terrified woman, a trembling teenager, and a doctor with a conscience, had changed the fate of an innocent man, and made a judge cry in open court. Daniel didn't sue the state. He didn't seek revenge. He didn't disappear into darkness. Instead, he opened a little auto repair shop funded by donations from people who once hated him. Above his door hung a wooden plaque. Truth may come late, but it comes with thunder. Every year on July 6th, the three witnesses visit him. Linda brings cookies, Ethan brings his report cards, Daniel tutors him every week. Dr. Keller brings medical supplies for kids Daniel helps. And every year, Judge Eleanor Hayes sends a handwritten card. I still think about your case. It reminds me why we fight for justice. The world tried to break Daniel Cole, but it failed. Because when truth finally speaks, it speaks loud enough to make even the strongest judge cry.